Welcome to the Yes You May live stream podcast where we talk everything to help you build your self-esteem up and believe that you can do anything that you want by giving yourself permission. Summit and I have a special guest here today. He just had to come and say hi to everybody, so I hope nobody minds. But if you hear him bark, apologies in advance. But we have Jeremy Torisk with us today, and he is all about developing your pro attitude. So what on earth does that mean? Well, we're about to find out. He's an entrepreneur who has grown and become his own CEO from, well, not much. So, without further ado, let's bring Jeremy in. Hi, Jeremy. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, everybody. Amanda and Summit in the house.
He can't help himself sometimes.
Better with him, I promise.
That's I know. I'm like, he's cuter.
Cute than me.
He gets all the likes. All the ladies love him. So he's got to be here, But thank you for joining me today. I know you're very busy, so I appreciate you taking some time to chat with the people about how they can develop their own pro attitude. So give me a little rundown. What is this you do, and where did this pro attitude concept come from?
Sure. Well, it wasn't really a concept. It was actually a survival mechanism.
That's even better.
Yeah. I have a unique story, and a lot of people had it really bad times, and I did too. Some people had worse than me. Some people come to me and say, they can't imagine having worse than me, but it happens. But what I do is, yes, I help people understand what having a proactive mind does for you, and just reminding yourself and having that auto-suggestion, as Napoleon Hill talks about in Think and Grow Rich. I hear that. It's okay.
Sorry.
That's cool. What we do is we help people understand that what you think becomes your words, and then your words become your actions. If you do that over a long enough time, you're going to get what you want out of life, especially when you help more people get what they want. And that gets you more what you want.
I love that. That's so true. It's something I figured out recently. I was like, why don't I just focus on helping 1 million people and the $1 million will follow?
Well, I say you got to go through the mill to get the mill, though.
Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, you got to go through adversity, and then you got to take a butt kicking, a lot of them, and learn from them, and accept the reasons why you got them. Understand that they were probably your fault. Right. One finger pointing out leaves 3 fingers pointing back, and that 6 inch between your ears is where all those problems generated from. But the good news is, it's how you can get over all of them too.
It's true. That's true. That's the key, though, is being willing to see what you've gone through and learn from it. And then being willing to be open about, okay, maybe I'm not perfect. Maybe there's some growth opportunity.
Yeah, far from perfect, and that's actually better. People who have achieved high levels of success have been so imperfect many, many, many times more than people who experience short-term success. So I've had a lot of success in my life, but I've had 10,000 times more letdowns and hard times and butt kicks. And then luckily, though, I did most of that 10,000 times. It's like the 10,000 hours of practice. I put in my 10,000 hours of, I don't know how to rate it, if we're rated PG-13, but I got my butt kicked a lot earlier in my life. And it allows me now to kind of live a life, I call it a get-to life, because I get to do the things that I want now. And I'm not motivated by money any longer. Because I was able to sell a construction company that I worked on very, very hard. Worked in the construction industry for 30 years, and that's where I had a lot of my lessons the hard way. And so now I get to do this, help people with their business, with their outlook, with their people skills. We call it the people process. For example, if you go to a company, any company, you ask them, do you have a sales process? They'll pull out a book. They'll show you a script. Right. They'll tell you how to overcome objections. And then if they say no, they'll show you a follow-up process. They say yes, they'll show you the route that it goes to for processing. Ask them if they have a payroll process. They're going to whip out a book that shows you how we're going to put the time in, time out, how much sick time they have, vacation time, 401k for benefits, all in a book. Ask them how they hire, what their hiring process is. They're going to look at you like you're from Venus or Mars, because they don't have it, I promise you. And so we built the people process, because once you build the people process and you truly put people first, then you will develop, as a result, the culture that will lead to the elevation of your company in every single sense of elevating a company. But that result is the culture is a result, not a plan, not a goal. It's a result of having the people process first.
That makes sense. I mean, when I was a store manager back in the day for AT&T, I had really good numbers, but it was all because I had a really good team. We got along really well. We liked to laugh and have a good time.
Oh
So as
boy,
customer facing, like
huge.
we had the tiniest store, but we were the best store in the company because people just
You were
had a good
friends.
time. Yeah, we were fun. Like, we
Yes.
made fun of each other. And people would hang out with us for a long time and then they would buy from us. And they came in, they were like, "How did you do this?" And I'm like, "It's pretty simple. We just hire a bunch of comedians." But now I realize.
No, there was genuine like, know, and trust going on.
Exactly. Exactly.
Really, that's as easy as it gets. Nobody invents anything anymore. No one's invented anything for 100 years. They wrote Think and Grow Rich 100 years
Yeah.
ago.
Napoleon
And
Hill.
all of that stuff, he created all this stuff, and everyone since him, Zig Ziglar, all these people, they take it and evolve it and make it their own, and that's what we do. I say I'm really into R&D. It's not research and development. It's rip off and duplicate. Take the best things that I can find that I think that I feel will help the people that I know, and I take it off and I duplicate it. I make it my own.
Right. That's the thing, making it your own and understanding how you can improve on something. I think that was another big lesson I've learned is like, you have to collaborate too. You're not going to know everything on your own. You're just not.
No.
And,
No, you don't.
working with other people helps, but that's hard for solopreneurs. So how do you think, as somebody who's working by themselves, what would your advice be for them when they need to work with other people or they're looking for some outside help?
Well, funny you ask. The second half of my book, Layer Real Leadership, is called Business Elements because that's how I lost my business. I was a solopreneur. Technically, I had a crew because I had construction workers out in
Right,
the field.
that makes sense.
But I was everything, and I was more of an operator, running my business as an operator and not knowing anything about HR and recruiting and payroll and sales and marketing. I didn't know all that stuff, so I just worked in the business instead of on the business, and it cost me the business. And
Right.
so I was at 38 years old. I had lost that business. I was homeless. But I was home. That's the second time. First time I was homeless at 17 for 2 years, and that was by choice. This time though, I was a dad. I had worked 18 years in the industry. Was the fastest recruited or promoted person in Comcast, local Comcast history. I was running at 32 years old, $47 million project with 27 employees and 46 contractors down here in South Florida. So I knew what I was doing as an operator because I started at the ground digging trenches and I worked my way up. Actually, I worked my way down because I was digging holes, but then I worked my way up into all the positions, and that was because of that mindset, because I had 7 words change my life twice in my life at 20 and 22 that took me from that homeless kid to, yes, I deserve better and I deserve success because success leaves clues. Once I learned that, these little wins, they started, getting my happiness up. I started being happy because I was not very happy. It's full of rage for a long time.
Right.
But back to losing that company, the second time I was homeless with 2 kids, I was making $250,000 a year in revenue. I was probably doing 40% profit. And so that was a ton of money for me. I mean,
Yeah.
crazy. For $100,000 for me was nuts. But I lost everything because I had all my eggs in one basket, and I was just doing new build construction, fiber optic installation, and 6 of my developments went down in 2009, 3 weeks before Christmas with the bubble burst. So I lost everything, and it took me 2.5 years to get back on my feet. And for a couple of months, when I was literally homeless, I had the luck of being very close with my ex-mother-in-law. And she had a retirement center, apartment in a retirement community. So we were like the reverse Anne Franks, me and my 2 kids. We were the quiet Germans being quiet so the old Jews couldn't hear us and turn us into the development and get us kicked out, So I got that blessed by a rabbi. He laughed and he said I could use it. So take that.
There you go.
Big trolls. But
Right.
I learned a big lesson from that not knowing what the other parts of the business can do. So to your point, your question, learning the other elements of the business, and when you don't know something, ask someone.
Right.
Ask someone smarter than you, and
Yep.
then listen to them. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Absorb it. Be present. Put your phone upside down, and listen. Take them to lunch. Buy them lunch. It's the best, $32 you'll ever spend if you ask a specialist in each part of these fields of the market that you don't understand, and just get 1% better every day.
That's huge. That 1%. And asking somebody that does know. I think we're often too like, oh, I don't want to ask
Proud.
for help. I can do it myself. I'll figure it out. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
But there's a certain, and I'm a huge DIY person, like huge. I do
Yeah.
everything. I'm super independent, happy my whole life. My parents like to joke that one of my sayings as a kid was, I'll do it myself. They were like, you were so
That's
like,
great.
it was.
Ask for help yourself.
You still need to find that outside source. I was listening to, man, I wish I remember this guy's name, but he was like, if I didn't know something, I just hired an expert at it. And I was
Well,
like,
Ford was like that. Henry Ford had, he went to trial because he sued a newspaper for calling him ignorant. And they were questioning about, how many soldiers came over from Britain for the revolution. He's like, a lot more than went home.
right.
You know? So he was smart, and he's like, if I need to something, I've got a row of electronic buttons on my desk. I push one, and the person that knows it comes in. They're smarter than me. That's how smart I am. And they gave him his award because he was right. He was smart.
Yeah.
People confuse education with smart. College degrees with smart. Education doesn't mean being in college. I have a knowledge education. All right, from doing and from losing and from doing again, and then hopefully not losing again at the same thing over and over. That's what you call insane, right?
That's right. You need to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
Take the time to process. That's something huge. You got to take the time to process and
You got
reflect.
to be brave too. I mean, my last name is Torisk, so it's kind of in my blood. In fact, my blood type is B positive, so that's where you cannot stop me. Homeless.
I love that.
Bring it on. Over 1,000 street fights. Bring it on. All right, 5 years martial arts. I don't run. Right. I love a fight, especially against a bully who's picking on someone weaker. Right. So when I see somebody out there taking advantage of situation in business, and for some of my clients, man, I'm in their corner. And I'm their biggest advocate. And we do things the smart way now. We use our inside voice.
Use your inside voice.
When we can.
When we can. Sometimes you got to get a little firm.
Sometimes.
That's what I say. I'm like, sometimes you just got to make sure it's known. You don't yell,
No.
but you got to get firm.
Well, yeah, if you can help it. I do a lot of work in the construction area. So sometimes, with the certain people, that's how they like it. And, you're going to be appropriate. But no, for the most part, being brave doesn't mean being a jerk. Right? It just means taking chances, calculated chances. And really one of the best things you could do as a solopreneur is don't outlive your expenses, right? Keep your expenses in check. So that way you can afford the downtimes when they come, because they will come. But you can outlast the people who are spending or living on Instagram like they're superheroes, because they're really not. They're super losers.
Yeah, I thankfully I did learn, the hard way with money, but if I can't buy it in cash, I don't, other than my car payment, because you got to use something on credit to maintain credit, but everything else, if it's not cash, then it's not happening, period.
Yeah, I'm a big Dave Ramsey guy. I lost everything, so I was bankrupt in 2011, and now ever since then, it was all cash. Everything was cash.
Okay.
For us, it's even the cars and stuff. And I have an 827 credit score, and I don't have any debt at all, nothing.
Good.
So I don't know how that happened. I don't pay attention to it, but my wife's a broker, and sometimes she needs that stuff. And really, we don't have any debt. We haven't had debt for 5 or 6 years.
That's fantastic.
And a couple, 2 or 3 years maybe. And I don't know that somehow it's there. I don't know how. Maybe someone's. I used to tell this joke about someone stole my wife's credit card, and I didn't report it for 3 weeks. And they said, "Why?" And I go, "The thief spends less money than my wife." Right. So maybe someone's spending the money and paying it off. I don't know. God bless them. They're doing a good job. Keep it up.
That's the key with credit cards. You got to use it as if it's a debit and just use it and pay it off. Build those points up. Get those airline miles.
I got away from all that. I couldn't sleep. I sleep 3 hours as it is. So I don't need any more things to keep me awake at night. And that was one of them. Going, great miles, points up. You know what? What if I miss? It just gave me agita. So I'm a debit card person. That's it. My wife is you. Big time points, everything, Costco card for this and this card for that. And I'm like,
oh my God, I love my Costco card.
Boo. I can't do it.
I love it. He gets cash back on all the Costco things, and including travel. We went on a cruise. We got cash back on the cruise. I was like, this is brilliant.
It is. It's good for certain people. I couldn't sleep. It affected me that much.
That's why you have a good match with your wife. That's it.
We are good. We are the yin and the yang, and she's the good and I'm the evil sometimes. But hey, we have fun.
That's all that really matters, is that you have fun, you can communicate well. Tell me more about your somebody else figuring out this pro attitude, the can do. What do you think is the first step for somebody in increasing their attitude? Because I think a lot of people these days have, and mindset's a big word, attitude is a big, it's all these buzzwords. What does that really mean? What does it really, like, how do we break that down and identify that we need to make the change and that we can make the change?
Well, first of all, it's developing the discipline, which is not a habit. Habits are easy to break. Quit eating potato chips for 3 weeks, right? That's a habit, right? It's going to be pretty easy to go back into, go into a store and it's Christmas and you want to eat a pie or something at someone's house. Well, that's not discipline, right? That's a habit. So developing real discipline is only something you can do over time.
Yeah.
So what I do, and I told you I don't sleep much, so I go to bed around midnight. I'm up at 3:30. But at that point, no one's up in the house. And if you can't do that, go to bed at 9 o'clock and get your 8 hours or whatever. But get up early, 4 o'clock in the morning. No one's around, and then start a habit. Maybe it's reading, maybe it's journaling, which is really good because you can start writing down some positive stuff. You don't got to journal like all this heart goo crap that feelings. I'm not saying to do that. Write some positive stuff. If not about you, then about somebody else. But every day, wake up early where it's quiet, and just get yourself in a general mode of gratitude. Read something that will make you happy. Listen to a song that's going to inspire you. Watch a YouTube video of something, some kittens or something, whatever it works. But then start writing something positive. If you can't point that inward yet, I get it. I had no self-esteem growing up, and I was jealous of the kids that had low self-esteem. Kids kicking rocks, looking at the ground. I was jealous of them. How dare they think so low of themselves?
Right.
I had no self-esteem. So just getting into gratitude every day, writing something positive. Again, if you're not ready to write about yourself, write it about something that is good in your life, and then focus on that the rest of the day. Before you go to bed at night, do the same thing. Just write something that happened for you that day. Maybe it wasn't what you wrote about in the morning. Maybe it's something else you didn't expect. Because once you start having a gratitude attitude, right? Attitude of gratitude, things will start happening to you that you won't expect. Good stuff, right? And even the bad stuff that happened, you start realizing they're happening for you and not to you.
Right.
Because you're going to look at stuff differently. I call this my get to life instead of I have to. Even the bad stuff happens for me, not to me. And I had some real bad stuff, even recently, to my children. One of them was severely injured in a bar fight. And it took all my being not to kill somebody, literally.
Yeah, of course.
Physically killed somebody because they stomped him. 2 grown-ass men stomped my son and broke all his teeth out of his face and broke his nose pretty bad. And but the kid, nothing good happens after midnight. I learned it the hard way, and now he has too. And I just got to look at going forward. He's not going to be, because he's an entrepreneur and he's actually a partner of mine in a business. And if the little bastard did get his eye socket broke, that would have cost me a lot of money, So luckily, it was only his nose and his teeth, which it's hard to say, but could have been a lot worse. So this stuff, though, for me, it got me through it because every day I look for the good in everything, period.
You have to find the good that's going on. And I think that's a big part of just being happy too, and appreciating what you have, and being, fulfilled in your life is seeing what is good. If we're always just chasing the next thing, and we're always living, when I'm there, I'll be this, or when I achieve that, I'll be happy. I think that's a huge misnomer, especially in America. Like, have these goals, do these things, but don't be happy until you get there. No. Enjoy the process, enjoy the ride, but learn from it.
Well, I call it acting at the speed of instruction, right? Whether someone's telling you to do something or you're telling you think about doing something, do it, try it. Yeah. It's okay if you fail. It's okay if anything worth doing that's good is worth doing badly at first. Right. So act at the speed of instruction is another mindset. It's just something. It's like Brian Tracy, eat the frog, do the hard things first. Someone tells you to do something, get the crap out of the way. And that way you can kind of be you have less energy later on in the task, but you're going to be doing the easier part, so it makes it easy. That's the way I address everything, and almost every day. I just started going to the gym for the first time ever.
Oh.
Ever. I do CrossFit because I like the community, and the lady Megan yells at me, and I like that. I'm kind of into that.
What can I say?
But it's hard. It's really hard. I've never worked out. Weights are heavy. I don't lift weights. They're too heavy. And I was getting surgery. I just turned 50 and I broke my ankle 2 years ago trying to run and lose weight. I lost 40 pounds by intermittent fasting, but now it's harder to lose. So I have to move more, eat less, move more. It's very simple. But it sucks. But I'm embracing the suck, as Jocko Willing says.
Yes.
Every
yes,
day.
he does.
And the other day, this is my third week, and all of a sudden I felt like, man, my arms felt tight. Like, holy crap. So like something, just that little, that success leaves clues, It made me feel good that I was like, dang. And I'm a 50-year-old man with a dad bod. I'm rocking it, the dad bod. I'm not going to be like a Ryan Reynolds. I get it. But there's something. I just felt good,
And that's the key, is feeling good. Like, what makes you feel good? That's one thing I tell people. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, when you're in a bad mood, sometimes, you just got to be there, and you got to kind of embrace that, okay, I'm in a bad mood and I don't want to feel happy. Because sometimes you get there and you're like, I don't care. I know all the things I should be doing and I don't want to. But don't let yourself be there too long, and find the things that make you, what are they? I think it's important to know those things, write them down, have a little list, like what makes you happy. For me, obviously my dog is one of those things.
Yeah.
And, music makes me happy. So I'll put on happy music, or somewhat happy music to kind of ease my way into it.
But as long as you're not hurting anyone, I also lean into some of those feelings sometimes. I mean, I'm a thrower. I throw shit. I just do. I throw things. When I get aggravated, I tend to throw things, but I don't throw them as hard as I used to. I more toss it on the couch instead of shattering it. It's in me, so I know I control it. But I come from a very dysfunctional family. I have two brothers that commit suicide, a brother-in-law and my brother commit suicide. My mother is literally, technical word for it is batshit crazy. My dad, they're just really not healthy. And so I get depressed. I have depression. And so when I have it, I'll sit on my couch for 2 days. I'll make sure there's nothing planned. I'll put on Law and Order. And season 1 and through 20, it'll play, and I'll sleep through most of it, and the lights are off, and I'm in the living room, so the kids are walking in and out. I got 4 kids. I call them roommates now because we're 18 to 28. At this point, they're roommates. But they know that Dad's recharging, right? And that's what it is. I know I'm depressed, and I know that's my downtime, but I'm not missing appointments. I'm not drinking on top of it, and I just lean into that, and it lasts for a day or two, and then it really is a recharge. But I acknowledge what it really is. I know it. I'm in a safe space. Everyone just leaves me the hell alone for 48 hours. And then I'm good for another 3 or 4 months because I'm an animal. I work. I get to work at dark 30. I go home at dark 30 because it's not work for me. It's my playground. And so I expend a lot of energy every single day. I'm at the gym at 6 a.m., but I'm up at 3:30 or 4, so it's not early for me. So those couple days that I need down every couple of months, I take them. And I'm not hurting anyone, and I don't like medication. I'm not going to medicate myself for that.
I don't blame you. I don't either.
You just got to acknowledge, your shortcomings, and you're not going to get over that, especially biology like that. I can't help that.
I think so many people just want to be like, oh, it's not good. Oh, I can't take this time. Oh,
better.
Instead of being honest with yourself and I just need a couple days. And I think we have to give ourselves permission and make it more socially acceptable too. Just us talking about this is a big deal, right?
That's what the risk factor is all about. We're bringing people on. It's my second podcast. The Go Procast is the attitude and the Overcoming Adversity to Start a Business. The risk factor is about the employees. It's about the people in the company who have mental health issues or concerns, and it's also people with physical differing abilities that are being bypassed because they don't interview well, basically.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. But put them on the job and watch Go Gadget go, man. They're just loving it. And they're excellent employees. So we deal with the mental health matters that happen in this country, and also physical, maybe getting over cancer, going through chemo. It's a long recovery. What can you do? What can the companies do for you? I'll let the companies know that if you're loyal, and these people are very loyal to you, they have a renewed sense of gratitude for life and a zest, and they're happy because they beat cancer, and now you have that at your disposal right there, making other people happy because you were in their corner and supporting them instead of shit-canning them. Sorry. You don't like to edit, but sorry.
I don't edit.
I'm very passionate about that.
Edit.
So that's the risk factor, and that's a brand new show that's starting. And that's, it's all about the risk of life.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, there's so many people that need that and need to understand, it's not all about the dollar signs always. You know, when you have an employee like that you take care of,
It's going to come back
they're gonna
tenfold.
work so hard for you. And there's such an immense value in having somebody inspirational and positive on your team, even
Yep.
if they're not like the biggest producer, just to help
Well, you
the
put
others.
them in charge of your people plan.
Right.
That's somebody who can be in charge of the people process for you. You know, you need that advocate for life and happiness and doing the right thing and spreading that. That's a culture builder.
Yeah. And that's the key, is the community, the culture, creating that space that people want to be. Because if they don't want to be there.
No, yeah, and those people will be weeded out, especially with the process that we build in our plans, because it makes it very obvious. But a lot of people, most of them, by and large, we just put them in the right spots so they become more happy, because they're just not doing the right thing. So we have tools at our disposal to figure out, are they doing an adaptive style or a natural style? Are they punching widgets where they need freedom and they need to work great in chaos? Well, you move them over to a different department and watch them go. You know, I mean, people, they just don't think. A lot of times the boss hires themselves, the carbon cops. I need high energy. I need people who go gadgets.
Right.
When really you might need somebody who slows down and thinks about things a little differently, but you don't hire them. So that's a really big mistake in small business, especially small businesses. But even large businesses and departments, you'll see that they're just poison. They're just not living up, and they think everyone comes down with them because it's all connected. So when we identify that, we can do that by different sports, you know, different wheels and different assessments, and we can move. We can start hiring people that have different attitudes and belief systems and drivers and motivations to actually fill out the department better, which then starts lifting out the other departments, because then they're selling on better expectations or better quality or communication, whatever the shortcomings were in that department.
That makes sense. I learned that recently. I don't remember. I think it was my friend Ron Chapman. He was like, most people are not in the right fit for the job. It's not that they're not a good person for the company, but what they're
Right.
specifically doing isn't a great fit. So you need to see what they're good at and how can you utilize their various backgrounds, because nobody has had a straight line. Everybody
No.
has had this winding path. So they've learned all sorts of things that often we don't even value. That's something I realized recently about myself. I was like, yeah, that's super easy to do. I was helping my man with a project at work, and I was like, yeah, we can do that, no problem. I was like, "Broop, done." And he was like, and his
Not my
boss was
jam.
like, that was awesome. Like,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, yeah, it was no big deal. But because to me, it's now no big deal. But 2 years ago, it would have been a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And we don't often take the time to reflect and see, oh, that is of value.
Yeah, of course, right. It is.
You know, there's something there that we just kind of learned from doing different things, and now you can utilize those skills. And I think that's great that you go in and get to know people so that you can help.
Yeah,
Maximize.
5 words I tell my leaders what to ask. These 5 simple words. How's your mom and them? You know, get to know them. You know,
Yeah.
not just your first line, but your second line. So when there's some conflict, they can feel comfortable going over to you, coming in your open door, and having a discussion before, you know, mushroom clouds into something more serious. And there's different tactics that we use to teach about communication skills and all that. We put things outside their cubicles and gives you specific words by, if you need something from me, these are the best words to use. And I'll bend over backwards for you. And you'd be surprised how energized people go home after doing something that they feel valued doing all day. And now they're going home with energy instead of going home all drained because they have to put on this front all day, you know, from the parking lot to the building until they get back out of the car again. And they've got nothing left and they go home, and now their marriage is failing.
Yep.
Because they hate their jobs and they hate their lives. But if people are getting really fulfilled naturally at work and doing things that energizes them, helping people, maybe it's not helping anyone at all. Maybe people drain them. So
Right.
you put them in a position where they're just by themselves, but they're feeling valued because they are listened to. And maybe some people they don't like it when you ask how's your mom and them, but you're going to know when to ask that question. But more often than not, it's more about just getting to know somebody. It's that sign right behind me. Build your relationships, or build your brand by building personal relationships.
Yeah.
And that's especially true in business.
I think that's huge. That's so huge. And even, I mean, listening is just an underrated skill. That's one of those things that, like, how are we not teaching? It's one of
It's
the
like
things.
money in high
why are we
school.
not teaching this? Right. How is this?
Finance
that
101
personal
in high
finance.
school.
Right. Like, what?
Right, exactly.
People are. That's one of my things with sales. I'm like, be a
And
good
motivation.
listener. If
Yeah.
you want to make more sales, listen.
Right. Yeah. The first 30 things I teach in any class, any system at all, first is motivation mindset. That's it. That's the first thing. Because without the right mindset, you're just not going to succeed.
100%.
The second thing we teach is finance 101, personal finances 101. Because if you're outspending and you're under debt, you can't. What you lose is something that's the hardest thing to get back, and that's hope.
Yeah.
When you can't see the end of that. So we love Dave Ramsey over here, and
Yes.
just look Dave Ramsey. We didn't make any of this stuff up. Then the third thing we teach before we teach anything else is business elements. Like in the book, the business elements is the most important. Even if you're just doing the job, again, that's where you said it when we started, the CEO of me. That's where we started with this. I became the boss of me first, which means accountability for my failures, but also celebrating the wins and allowing myself to accept that I had a win. Then you become a leader after you're the boss of yourself, because bosses suck, but leaders lead from the front. You become a leader. But then you become a successful leader when you understand how what you do and the people that you're leading affect the other teams left and right of you, the other departments, because it's all domino effects. And now you're a successful leader because you're open-minded to how can I serve not just my workers, my loyal employees, but my teammates left and right of me. Because when I'm serving left, right, up, down, front, back, again, like we started taking earlier with Zig Ziglar, the more people you help, the more success you're going to have. So that's how you become a successful leader. The pinnacle is by helping everyone, and that raises everything up. And being the example.
Oh man, that's huge. Just being the example is such a huge thing. I want to be respectful of your time. We're already at 31 minutes. So
Fast.
it happens so quick. I'm good at getting people talking anyways. That's why I have a show. I was like, I can get people to talk. I think that'll be fun. But I appreciate you coming in. Do you have any final words of wisdom that you would want to share to somebody who's starting off and not feeling super confident in themselves just yet? How they can believe in themselves?
Just start with that. Start with the morning routines. Get some discipline. 21 days in a row. Do something for 21 to 26 days. Then it stops becoming a habit, and it becomes second nature. It's actually, I think I did some study, and it's like 60 days really becomes really hard.
Yeah, it's not as easy as 21 anymore.
Yeah, so it's like 3 times that, but it becomes second ingrained in you. Like, yeah, I know it's not 21 because I'm there at the damn gym and I hate it, but 3 more weeks I'll be fine. But all my shows here, I do, if you want to get in touch with me, Jeremy Torisk, Torisk at proadvisors.com. Have my phone numbers up there. Call me or text me, 954-338-9799. The Risk Factor with Jeremy coming soon, and the GoProcast on my books are Labor to Leadership, my story, my journey from pit digger to CEO. And I have a chapter in Standing O. It's a book of tribute. My chapter is about my brothers who filled the hole in my heart when my natural brothers committed suicide years ago. So that's me in a nutshell. And I'm pretty much, that's me. I'm a nut.
Me too. It's okay.
Right.
I'm a lot.
Anybody who goes on stage like we do and talks in front of a couple thousand people with
There's
lights in your
something
eyes
special.
and gets energy from it, yeah, that's pretty cool stuff.
Exactly. Well, I appreciate you coming, Jeremy. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom and joining us on the Yes You May podcast, which is all about making sure you believe in yourself and giving yourself permission to do whatever it is that you want to do. Again, thank you, Jeremy. Check him out wherever you can. If you need his help, he's more than happy to help. Maybe serve. Thank you all, and we hope to have a beautiful week. We'll see you next time on Yes You May. Bye.